Well, hello there. Here we are. It is New Year's Eve, the fourth and final night at Madison Square Garden, and as you see, we still have the main event to come. But in case that is something that completely blows our minds, I wanted to get to these first two sets before it is too far removed and gets completely overlooked. Because there was some stuff here worth mentioning, of course. Then there was a lot of stuff that was I feel like sort of like last night. It took them a while to get going. While that's a fine start with the mics Bouncin and Weekapaug, and maybe not a proper Mike's groove, with the Bouncin there in the middle, and nice calls from Spud and Patrick playing along with the picks, both hitting the Mike's opener. So we're gonna appreciate that, and then the Weekapaug tends to, although they just has that natural, just heavy dark sound to it. Weekapaug usually winning the battle there between the Mikes and the Weekapaug, and again more Mike. It's been a lot of Mike all three nights really, and going into a fourth night, here we are, no different. And then they follow that up with a stash. Is that right? I felt like there was maybe something in between there. I guess we're gonna trust the whiteboard. And then stash is really where things get going. You see, we got a melt here later on, too. Stashing them both in the same set is really, you're playing with some dangerous fire there. If this is a big night for chompers, you may lose them playing both of those songs. They just don't really know how to get down to stash. And then melt, it just gets even crazier. There was something being teased in stash. It was just like I don't know. I feel like it was a Phish song. It was something recognizable, but I feel like it was a Phish song. Something going on there in that stash. And by the time it got to the crescendo and stash, it was huge, blowing things up. We got the Evolve there. That was the opener I settled on. We get throwing it in there again. A mostly 1.0 heavy set here, and then we got the Llama, and then the melt that I mentioned, and I don't melt anymore. At some point I just had to focus in on Mike. That was easy to follow. He was playing around with different tones, having a good time, sounding great. Paige and Trey just so loud and so chaotic. I just don't even know what the hell is going on. Fishman, of course, chiming in with all, avoiding the trash can symbol as much as possible tonight. And we got a number line starting to get jammed up on the whiteboard here, as you can see. Had to turn it a little bit. Got these songs in here, just barely making room for Numberline and Carini. And there's the Carini that I've been calling every single night. And then that's one of my favorite set openers. If not a slave to the traffic light ending the whole thing, which looks like possibly we're gearing up for a squirming coil set ender where Paige McConnell is solo on stage by himself. Did not hit us with a stick around, but it was Paige up there all by himself. So that ends a fine set one. And then here we go over here, Sigma Oasis. And, more fans calling the openers. Professor Joe LaRocca hitting the Sigma Oasis set 2 opener. You don't get as many points for calling a set 2 opener as you do a first one. But and if you're a film buff, check out his channel tomorrow. Going to be announcing his favorite films of 2024. And I will be doing my favorite Phish songs of 2024 at some point here in the new year. We'll also be talking Ducks and Bucks tomorrow. Wish me luck if you're neutral. All right, let's get on to the Phish show, man. Shut up. All right, so we got Sigma Oasis opening things up. It seems like the openers are never going to get too fancy, although maybe night one, actually. Had a really fancy pants opener, didn't we? So then my friend, again, just every time. I know we certified it a while back as a jam vehicle. It is now trying to get like a CDL or something. This is incredible. It's going to be a first responder before it's over. Getting a little dull here on the Sharpie. So my friend, and it started out very early on. It was just a lot of Trey. Just like it seemed like it was going to be all Trey all the time. And then, the full band's working their way in. It seemed like Trey was wanting to leave the song at some point, too. Play something, I don't know, maybe was he reaching for Golden Age earlier or something? And then you get a lot more Mike, of course, and then the Sand follows that, another one that I've been calling night after night, and they got into this, and it wasn't like a stop and start, but nearly a stop and then a go, a near stop and go, really, and then very funky too, which then, much like the stash, as the jam just goes and goes, bam, the next thing you know, you are in the midst of a huge crescendo and Sand. Golden Age follows that up. So look, I jammed out my friend, Sand and Golden Age, just two that getting 5 stars almost every time they're played, bringing everything down for what's the use. A bit rowdy crowd for what's the use too. They did their best to quiet down when they needed to. Nearly impossible, though, on a night like this. And then at some point there was an extra roar, like something that was maybe missed on the webcast. Because Trey was just staring at the ceiling as the crowd, almost like it sounded like a wave-ish type of roar or something. Follow that up with Taste, and although pretty much a normie Taste, but it is once again taking me back to the Sphere, kind of like the Ring and Wolfman's Brothers. Takes me back to Billy jamming us up and giving us no ring from either man in Michigan this summer on Wolfman's Brother. I'm going right back to the Sphere every time I hear Taste. We got a whiteboard here. What am I doing? And then Golgi Apparatus and First Tube, going full arena rock to end the set. Taste very nice. What's the Use? Golden Age and Sand. All right, I totally forgot there was a whiteboard there. All right, we got to get out of here. We're already 6 minutes in. We got the main event to go. Boom. All right. I'm going to take some bong hits. Oh, and we are now back for the third and final set. And quickly, I'll see, as you see here, we got a character 0 to kick things off. And then in the encore, it's somewhat of a waste of time, Some nights I skim over the encore erroneously, like last night. That Harry Hood certainly deserves some love. The Grind, Icculus, Tweez Reprise, the Icculus Trey kind of just giggled and fumbled his way through that Icculus, referencing last New Year's Eve. And then the Grind, Paige's mic wasn't working or something, and I mean, who really wants to hear Grind anyhow? And then Tweez Reprise as expected. And like I said, 0 opened the thing. So let's get to really what we were looking for, the meat of this whole thing. From Pillow Jets leading up to Midnight all the way down through Santos. Well, I guess we don't really care about Santos either, but they played Santos there at the very end of the third and final set. So the Pillow Jets is what takes us till midnight, and then there were dancers involved. I guess these were dancers, very slow-moving dancers. It was something like somewhere in between Eyes Wide Shut and the Statue of Liberty or something. I don't know what this costume was. Gold, lots of silky-looking cloth hanging off of them. I mean, real long, big, giant costumes. Lots of oddball, weird movement. Our character Aaron Wolf from last year's New Year's Eve show appeared again. Did the countdown, in fact. So, I don't want to get sidetracked with that. In the first part of the whole celebration, Pillow Jets led us up to midnight, the traditional New Year's Eve song, and then What's Going Through Your Mind. I mean, it was odd. There was times it looked really cool. It was like part festival, part Sphere. I was saying, like, maybe they could bring the Sphere to New York City, and they did try that a little bit, with there's big screens, spiral things coming down from the ceiling, these masks that the slow-moving dancers were wearing. So, like I was saying, the mask that these dancers were wearing, it was, there's things coming out of the ceiling along with the spirals that were, just like the face of the mask all broken into pieces, and it was slowly coming together. You can make out the lips first. I'm a little slow here. It took me a minute to realize it was making the mask face, even after I saw the lips. I was like, oh, what is that, Mick Jagger? What's going on up there? So I don't know. The Pillow Jets, kind of like the Sphere. Maybe that was my favorite Pillow Jets. This is now probably my favorite Pillow Jets. So right there with it. Visually, there was times when it was really cool. And not a whole lot of shots of the band, really almost no shots of the band down here once things got a little out of hand. So then we get your traditional New Year's Eve booming into 2025. Unbelievable, right? All right, so enough of that. What's going through your mind now? All right, now there was parts of this. Now there was parts where it was very cool. It was like, now if you haven't recognized the King Gizzard influence now, I know people are going to be carrying on about whether the Disco Biscuits or whatever, but it was very much the Silver Cord influence right here. I mean, I thought at some point they were just going to start saying "Slay the Mighty Set," "Slay the Mighty Set," but instead they did a mashup of. It was very electronic sounding, very electronic dance music sounding. The dancers, the odd moving, slow Illuminati dancers were replaced with, I don't know, what was that, like 80s New York street dancers or something from, they look like they get their ass kicked in the Midwest, but I don't know. And then the mashing up of lyrics there was times even early on when the music was pretty cool. I thought, like, oh, this is nice. I like this, all right. And What's Going Through Your Mind had the backing vocals from the weirdo dancers. Trey has often needed those. And then just it all went to hell. It got really just not cool, you know. My wife's in here sitting in watching with me. It was one of them times when you're ashamed to be a Phish fan, really. And I know a lot of times I'm critical of things right when it happens, and then over time I watch it and re-listen, and was probably too critical. I don't know, man. I don't know how this went over. I mean, they shot for it, and there was times when it looked amazing, even times when it sounded cool. But when they started in with that, the Haley's Comet and the Wolfman's Brother specifically, I just wanted to look away, and I just wanted it all to end, really, right then. You know, I wanted no part of this whole scene. And maybe I'm being way too critical. Maybe it was that Aaron Wolf had appeared again and gave us the countdown, and I was having flashbacks from that horrible performance last year. All right, now I'm being way too critical. So this here, I don't know. It was a big swing and miss. I appreciate the silver cord feel. You know, they need to get themselves a table. Mike even maybe had a keyboard. I see it. Why did the three guys dress up like pilots? They did nothing really, or at least that we could see on the webcast anyhow. And then we get a nice transition into Chalk Dust Torture. We get Slave to the Traffic Light a couple songs early. The Life Saving Gun now. That song really hit as much as kind of like I Always Wanted It This Way and Most Events Aren't Planned. I feel like that's in that category. Say It To Me, Santos ends it. And then yeah, I don't know. They kind of lost me here, you know. And like I said, maybe I'm wrong. Other people might be like, you are crazy. That was awesome. Disco Phish. Slay the Mighty Phish. Extinction. All right, guys. So boom, we are out of here. It's late. Not that overall, I don't know. I don't know where it would rank amongst their New Year's Eve shows, but there were a lot of good picks tonight. I did very well on my picks, along with Spud did well, Nico did well. Like I said, Professor Joe nailing an opener, Spud and others nailing the opener. The Fun Factory. Somebody might have hit this What's Going Through Your Mind. I'm sorry. I tried to go back through. All right, enough. This has been a long video. It has been a great year, as Trey was saying. And he's right. 2024 was a pretty good year, huh? All right. It's time to go. We'll be talking Ducks and Bucks tomorrow, and then I'll quickly follow that with an MSG recap, and then maybe some of my favorite stuff from the year, from the P-Fish. All right, guys, boom. Then eventually we'll get back into some King Gizzard. And then we're going to get Mexico. And then we're going on to, there's all these rumors of things happening in April. That went full Howard Dean on your ass. All right, guys, boom, we're out of here.